Instead of focusing on win arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to the Brian Nichols Show. Well, happy Monday there, folks. Brian Nichols here on the Brian Nichols Show. Thank you for joining us. And of course, another fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host. And today, going to be you and me one-on-one. We were supposed to have a guest, but unfortunately, he had some technical issues. Don't worry, we're going to get him back on the books because we're taking the whole conversation about a DAO and we're bringing it more to land use. So yeah, don't worry, we're going to be having the conversation very soon. But today, yes, it's going to be you and me, and we're going to be doing one-on-one talking about morning sales huddle stuff again. Yeah, I know you guys, you always reach out to me. You say, I love when you do the quick one-on-one sales huddle. So I said, all right, we're going to go into the archives and we're going to talk about two of our morning sales huddles going back to last year. The first one going back to September of 2021. It's okay to say no. No, it's one of the shortest and most powerful words in human language. No. We've been conditioned since an early age to say yes to others, since out of a sense of societal obligation. But saying yes all the time isn't a good thing. As a matter of fact, it might be the thing that's actually holding you back in sales. There's only one thing that each of us experience in the exact same way, and that's time. Time is the ultimate non-renewable resource. It doesn't matter where you're born, what family you're born to, how much money you have, your predicaments in life, or any other extraneous situation you can think of. Time evens all playing fields. And saying the word no gives you control of dictating who does and who doesn't get part of that time. Some of the best sales pros I know have made their careers by efficiently and effectively weeding out lesser opportunities in their qualifying process to help make sure they're focusing all their time and energy on opportunities that not only will yield the biggest reward, but are those that are actually worth their time, that are worth the investment. So no, don't feel bad for saying no. Feel empowered. You being able to control where you focus your time and energy is one of the most liberating and rewarding feelings that you can often feel. And who knows, saying no more often might open the door to more opportunities saying yes. And when those opportunities do in fact say yes, well, what do we do with them? I say we should celebrate greatness. Because every day at 9 p.m. I send a tweet. What did you do great today? I ask it every single day. Why? Because I believe that we need to start celebrating greatness. We need to build a culture of not only celebrating that greatness, but promoting it. There is one constant that permeates all the negative thoughts that we have in life, and that is a constant sense of dread and doubt. There's so much negativity in the world right now, and people feel trapped thinking that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. When you think of your average sales pro, they often reflect back on the negatives that they experience in their day-to-days, just like your average everyday person does. But what will truly separate you from the rest is to genuinely appreciate and celebrate that greatness. Showing people that greatness is out there for them and that it's possible for them to have that as a venture is one of the best things that you can do. It gives people a sense of hope, but it also gives you a chance to reflect on success. And while yesterday's home runs don't win tomorrow's games, you can sure pop the champagne and celebrate those moments of greatness when they do, in fact, happen. So that's going to wrap up our two morning sales huddles. And then I wanted to quickly transition over to one email question I got. And I thought it was a very interesting question. I wanted to quickly address it because I guess I never really thought about it, but I do actually address this person's questions in the own way I approach listening to podcasts. And that is, how do you effectively listen to podcasts? And the question goes, Brian, I listen to podcasts every single day, yet I find myself at the end of the day often forgetting what it was that I learned throughout the day's episodes. How do you effectively listen to podcasts to not just hear great information, but retain it? Thanks, Bill. All right, great question, Bill. So to that question, when I go out and I actually effectively listen to podcasts, and I never really thought of it this way, but what I do is, number one, I try to narrow down the number of podcasts I listen to. I used to listen to a bunch of different podcasts, probably like 15 or so different podcasts. At any given time, I'd be sorting between them. I find that going back to the idea of you become who you surround yourself with, and usually it's the top 5 people. The same thing is true with what you listen to, the content you consume. So I can't recommend enough consuming content and consuming consuming individuals. Yeah, don't do that. No, being around and listening to individuals who will make you better. So focusing on first making sure you're narrowing down the number of podcasts that you actually listen to. I would juggle no more than 5 at any given time. Now, obviously, you'll have your one here and there that you'll listen to as a one-off. That's all well and good, but I would really try to focus on a select few podcasts to start. Number 2 is when you listen to a podcast, if you are finding that you're really getting a lot of joy out of that podcast, however it is in your podcast catcher that you utilize, hit a little notification, whether it's the favorite button, a thumbs up button, or just save it as a bookmark, and make sure you go back to that podcast in the future and re-listen to it. And I think it's important to not only re-listen to it, but then the next time, sit down with a pen and paper, actually take some notes, and go through and make sure you're not only listening to the podcast, but now you're taking down the information. And one thing I also like to recommend is if you have the ability, number one, I mean, you can go ahead and just search this, look to see if there's a transcription for the actual podcast. I, for example, will include all the transcriptions there in every single podcast episode. So folks can just go ahead and read the transcription, and then they can take the bits and pieces they enjoyed and bring it over to, whatever they're copying and pasting it to, or they can just, highlight the notes there if they print it off or something like that. But the other thing you can do is you can use a tool. Like I use Otter AI for all my show notes and for meeting notes, because not only does it transcribe the show, but it also gives me a chance to show what topics were discussed. And I can go and see a high-level overview of the conversation, take notes myself on the side columns, and it's really great for the audience, because now you get the opportunity to, again, go ahead and get that medium to read it and really disseminate it, take it apart, rip it apart, and learn from it. So then after that, I challenge you, once you have gone through, you've listened to the podcast the first time, you've gone through the second time, you've either transcribed it and you've highlighted the bits you liked, the bits you found important, or you've written down notes yourself. Then the next part, and this is the part that I think a lot of people, they'll skip, and that is the actionable part. What are you going to do with the information that you've now accessed in the podcast? If it is actionable information, so for example, I listen to a lot of sales and marketing and content podcasts, but I also listen to some Liberty podcasts. There's not necessarily a lot of actionable things you can do with Liberty podcasts, but there are things you can learn, or things that are important that you can carry forward to conversations that you're having on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, if you're speaking to your coworkers at the water cooler and conversation comes up about the cost of living increasing, if there's conversations that you've heard, podcast episodes that you've listened to, and you've heard certain nuggets that you've gone through and you've effectively mapped out what that information is as it pertains to inflation, right? We talked about this with our good buddy there, Clint from Liberty Lockdown, how inflation is the main cause of the increase in cost of living prices right now. So being able to have that information at your disposal and to know it based on the fact that you've now taken the time to institute whatever it is that you've learned into your day, whether it's trying to incorporate that into a conversation when the topic comes up, whether it's trying to learn more about that conversation or that topic that you were listening to, or if it's something like a personal development podcast or a sales podcast, implementing one of those things that you've learned into your routine, and then to compile those as time goes on each week, adding a new routine to, by the end of the year, adding 52 new routines, which or 52 new habits to your routine. And that will be 52 new things that you've taken from podcasts that hopefully are going to be actionable and help you hit your goals that you didn't have before. So there is my suggestion to when you listen to podcasts is, to actually take the ones that you really, really enjoy and take the extra effort. Listen to them again. Listen to them at 1.5 speed the second time if you want to. Or if you're like me, listen to them to 2.0 speed because, I got a lot of podcasts I want to listen to. And also go back to the archives. If you really enjoyed a certain podcast, go back and listen to different episodes that they have there. It's a great opportunity for you to not only support that content producer and that content creator, but also to go out and try to learn some more. So how about that? Hopefully that answers your question, Bill, how to be an effective podcast listener. If you enjoyed that response, please do me a favor, give me a shout. And also, if you have questions too that you want to hear answered here over at the Brian Nichols Show. Head down to the comments, go ahead, ask your question there, or if you want to go ahead and email me Brian at briannicholsshow.com. But with that being said, folks, that's really all I had for you today. We're working on getting our guest here back on the program, but otherwise, last week it was you and me again on Friday. It was talking about selling stories, and we talked about that using the example of Billy Madison and the story he hears Miss Lippy read, the puppy who lost its way. So if you missed that episode, don't worry. I'll include the video right here at the end of today's episode of the Brian Nichols Show. So make sure you click that. I will see you over there. And for our audio listener, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the episode, well, hey, click the artwork in your podcast catcher. It'll bring you to today's episode where you can find not only the episode, but also you can find over 500 other episodes of the Brian Nichols Show. Plus, you can find the entire transcription of today's episodes. And please do me a favor and go support our brand new sponsor here over on the Brian Nichols Show. We have the Expat Money Summit. It's going to be taking place here in November. If you are interested in learning more, head to briannicholsshow.com/expat. But that being said, that's all I have for you today, folks. It's Brian Nichols signing off here on the Brian Nichols Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.